Hi, everyone. Welcome for joining CBIA on this discussion. Let's just allow a couple of minutes for people to join. It's great to see a full room. I think it's the biggest call we've had since we started. I'm just sharing my screen with the cover theme. As you know, we're going to be discussing the Chang Hardfork, Conway Era, and Plutus V3. Just admitting a few more participants. Sure, if anyone raised their hand. Yeah, sorry, just need to mute some things here. Okay, yeah, like while people join, I would like to invite you to, if anyone wants to say hi, just say who they are, where they're coming from, what they're doing, jump right in. And I'm going to start. I'm Lucas. I'm doing development experience at Maestro, a founding member of CBIA. And who wants to go next?
I can jump in. Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Ryan. I'm a tech lead over here at Intersect, and I've been involved in building tools, building standards for Cardano's Voltaire era for maybe a year now, and that's what I'll talk about today.
I know we have a number of guests as well. Eisten?
Hey, I'm just a guest. It's an Hansen staking pool operator working for Norwegian Block Exchange, and big fan of Cardano for a very long time and everything governance related.
Hello, I'm Tyler. I work with Emergo. I'm a strategy and growth and work with community there. Just here as a guest and want to stay up to date with everything that's happening.
Welcome.
Hey, I'm Alex. I'm one of the main founder of Vesper Wallet. I'm also the CEO and in charge for most of the technical parts of Vesper Wallet still.
Hello, I'm Christian Loney, CEO of Blink Labs and one of the founders of the CBIA.
I know we have.
All right, then.
Go ahead.
I'll go. I'm Niels, operator of the Hazel Stake Pool and developer of the Discord bot Vibrant and the Catalyst Reach Your People project. Just a guest.
Hi, I'm Marvin. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Maestro, and Maestro is one of the founding entity of the CBIA.
Casey?
Hey guys, I'm Casey. I'm a senior software engineer at the Cardano Foundation. I've been working on Icon for almost 2 years now. So one of the core maintainers of it, and that's it.
Great stuff. Anyone else? Members, guests?
Hey guys, Thiago, stake pool operator, currently with the MCC committee at Intersect, and several other projects.
Hey, I'm Matthew Capps. I'm a community manager at IOG and working on a lot of governance related stuff, including sometimes now and then helping Sam Buthers with sort of preparations for Chang and that kind of thing. So I'm just interested to come along and yeah, just an observer guest.
Nice to see you here.
Yeah, no.
Hey,
No, please go ahead. Or okay. Hi, I'm Sebastian. I came from Game Labs, and it's nice to be here and listen to the call. Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Welcome. Ryan, I'm not sure, did you get Sam to be on the call, or is he not joining?
Yeah, I think he's just delayed. I sent him a couple reminders. Yeah, he confirmed attendance earlier today, so
Okay.
he might just be caught up somewhere. So we can give him a few minutes.
Okay. Last call for introductions. Anyone? Right. Let's jump in. So I'm going to share my screen again. And we want to do this like very free format. As you know, the topic is well explained and known in the community. We just want to create a space to debate it a bit. I wanted to invite just for a moment anyone from CBIA to introduce what we do here. Does anyone want to step forward? I'll go ahead and do it. So basically, CBIA, as you probably gathered, is also known as the Intersect Infrastructure Work Group currently. And we started a year ago. The goal is to find threats, opportunities, challenges, and to talk and find action to address them, to collaborate. The initial founders were mainly the ones on screen, or some of them here have joined a bit after. But basically, we are meeting every other week internally to address what I just said, and looking to articulate with the founding entities of Cardano. Ryan was just pointing out to me today, we need to put Intersect here because, yeah, it's been helping us in some discussions recently. So yeah, very well pointed out, Ryan. Also, yeah, I invite you to follow our socials and to join us on Discord. On YouTube, we also have a number of calls that we've done recently or over the last year, but some of them more recently, including this one that I just released, where here we had a call between myself, Ryan, and Alex from Vesper, where Ryan took us over the main the certificates for Conway. So we went over this from top to bottom, and I felt it would be a nice introduction to the theme, so that we could to the topic, so that we could debate it here today. So we just circulated very briefly this document, and I'm also going to drop it on the chat for anyone that wants to write any questions in here while we are on the call today. So, yeah, I'm not sure if, Ryan, do you want to give us any introduction to what these things are, or does, in terms of context, everyone's familiar with, like, the Chang Hardfork is going to put Conway Era into effect. It's going to deliver governance and Plutus V3. Is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, I can give a little introduction. Yeah, the Chang Hardfork will be the next major upgrade for Cardano. We'll hard fork into the Conway ledger era, which is the next ledger era, which will contain the governance model as described in CIP 1694. And as part of that, we'll also be moving to Plutus language V3, which adds some extra features. Yeah, I think that's a good introduction.
Thanks. Yeah, so I just let Sam in. Welcome, Sam, as well. So yeah, I put in some names here of the main guests that we were counting with to share some insight. But in overall, we have a number of people here from our side that could contribute, so that it's not exclusive to these people to present and share some knowledge. I added some links here, which are some reference links that Ryan's been pointing me at them very, very often. So the first one, or one of them, is this one, which has the certificates and all the content and QA around it. You're familiar with GovTool, and yeah, we even have here the CDDL. So yeah, feel free to explore them and raise some questions on the call or asynchronously if you can later. But I think we would just jump into the questions Q&A, right? So I just structured here some sections on the Chang Hardfork, the Conway Era, Plutus V3, and other related topics. And maybe we can just take it from top to bottom, right? So first one is when can we expect the hard fork to happen on preview, and how much lead time will there be before moving to other networks?
We're
if
targeting
Sam's here, yeah.
we're targeting sometime in June basically for preview. And we typically give about 6 weeks between preview and mainnet.
Okay. And then 6 weeks to mainnet.
Yep.
Thanks.
Now we don't have a 9.0 release yet, so that's still rather tentative, but that's what we're aiming for. We think we'll have it by then, so don't set these dates in stone, but if you're looking at trying to plan around them, that's what I would go with.
Yep. Okay. So that's the second one. The third one.
9.0.
Yeah, sorry, I was on this one already.
Okay, any breaking changes, compatibility, may be aware for dApps running on Lucid. V2 should be completely compatible. It's really when you go to update to V3 that you might need to do some changes or be able to optimize some things to get some better performance out of it or reduce your costs or whatnot. The one thing to point out is that at the Conway hard fork, there's a parameter for reference script cost per byte that needs to be accounted for when submitting the transaction, and it basically just ties into the fee. There will be a CLI command that will let you figure out how many bytes your reference scripts are for the reference script you're referencing. And the transaction build command will automatically take care of this for you. It's only if you're building them raw or using a tool outside of the CLI, basically, that you would run into this issue.
And this is a new parameter for Conway, is that right?
Yes, this is a new parameter in the Conway Genesis. We
Yeah,
don't
so
know exactly what that parameter is going to be. Our kind of assumption right now is at a ceiling, it's going to be min fee A. So the 44 Lovelace per byte that we have on the transaction size itself will also be the script size, but we think that's a ceiling, and we think we can probably bring it down from there. We just put it to the same value on SanchoNet now because the conversations haven't occurred yet on what that should actually be set to. And I'm actually the head of the economic committee for the parameter committee, economic working group for the parameter committee. So that's something we're going to be diving into here rather shortly.
Great stuff. Thanks.
Yeah, I was just
Conway
going to say
Era.
Lucid wouldn't account for that. So that will be a breaking change to Lucid, but you know, that's fine. Like, you know, it is what it is. The fee it calculates won't be enough, but that's
The other thing that's not a breaking change, it doesn't look like it affects you since you said you're using Plutus V2 already, but the other thing that Conway Era is going to support is we've backported reference scripts to Plutus V1. And we did that basically because of the amount of V1 scripts we saw on chain, and seeing how a huge portion of that was could be reduced significantly with reference scripts after we did some analysis. So we took that to the Ledger team, and the Ledger team looked at it and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's easy," and they like had it implemented in a few days.
Sounds good. Great. So maybe moving on to Conway, have the changes to the ledger and protocol been finalized? Can people add support to them without possibly changing later? Things changing later.
It's pretty close to finalized. Aside from things that we come across in testing that we find that basically something doesn't make sense, where we might have to tweak something for some reason or other, they're pretty close to finalized. I wouldn't expect any major changes to the CDDL going forward. Yeah.
Okay.
The one tricky thing there is script contexts on Plutus. I know there's some debate going on right now on whether things change in the script context or the cost model for a few things. I think that stuff is all going to be pushed post Conway at this point, my gut feeling. However, it's going to depend pretty strongly on what the community's view of are those changes.
Great. Moving on. What I think is like maybe we can just go over the questions briefly and then open the floor for Q&A. So that's why I'm flying over them. And so on V3.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there's these additional bitwise primitives. They are on SanchoNet now. And basically there's a few things in the cost model that tie into those primitives. So they should be available for you to use now on SanchoNet if you want to start testing.
Now, is this just the byte array to integer and integer to byte array? Or does this include the other bitwise primitives that have been mentioned before?
Let me see here. This was... Give me one sec here. Release notes. Not 892. I want 810 pre. Yes, it's byte string to integer and integer to byte string.
Okay.
What ones were you expecting?
The other ones which they mentioned they might bring later, because they can always add more built-ins later on, would be XOR byte array, bit shifting of byte array left to right, and I think a few other ones like and or.
Okay. I think these are the ones that are being discussed right now, whether they can be done in an intra-era hard fork or not. So I will have more info later on that.
Yeah,
the
it would be
one
at a later
thing the one thing we discussed was on a call I was on yesterday was basically maybe we can set the cost model for those now and basically set them to a value that they can't be used, and then when they're implemented in Plutus, we just turn that on type thing at the intra-era hard fork for the what am I talking about? Leaving the bootstrap phase. So basically when we go live full SIP 1694, maybe we might be able to include a few more primitives and then switch the cost model to allow those primitives to be used. But that's all up in the air right now. So I mean, there's no guarantee on anything post Conway right now, what's going to be coming and what's not in the near future. So hopefully I can bring you some more information on that later.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my understanding was a lot of those primitives, the libraries that they were going to use in Plutus required GHC9, which basically means we have to get the node to a point where there's no performance regressions on GHC9 before we can actually, and drop support for GHC8 before we can enable some of those primitives.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thanks. So on other related topics, I just have here a quick question on what is the general state of the ecosystem readiness for these changes? What's the potential impact of a particular wallet not being explicitly updated? So these are two very distinct questions. I think we've covered the
Is this
first one a
talking
bit.
about just the Conway Era?
I just had it on. I'm not really sure who contributed this question,
Yes.
but
Yeah, let's just say for the Conway Era, like for one, you had mentioned the additional transaction, potential costs, so that could affect DApps, of course.
Yeah.
For the reference inputs. It sounds like there wouldn't be anything likely preventing, wallets from doing transactions, that sort of stuff. Like there's nothing else required that could potentially be a foot gun other than, transactions built by DApps missing, a little bit of fee, right?
Well, that and actually updating the node. So, I mean, if you have a wallet provider that hasn't updated to a version that can cross the hard fork, the wallet's basically just not going to work, even though it might be able to create transactions that are valid and submit them type thing. If it can't receive blocks, I mean, you're not going to have much after that.
Right.
I mean, that's something you have to call out, that basically some effort is required from everyone to update to 9.0. But yeah, most of the things are just going to continue to work, other than fee calculation, possibly if the reference script bytes. But that would happen. That would happen similarly if you changed the Plutus cost model. Basically, your fee calculation is probably going to break.
Right.
Yeah, I can maybe talk to some wallet readiness, because I tend to talk to a few wallets. So on Sanction at the moment, we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different wallets. So that's Lace, Yoroi, NewFi, Eternal, and Duo wallet. They're all on Sanction at the moment. So they're already running Conway Era nodes. They're already getting familiar with it. They're already, they're ready for the upgrade as such. In addition to that, we have Flint, Vespa, and Nami also in progress. So I've been in contact with all of those, and Intersect offers some grants for that, and they're all working on that. Is there any? So those are all the wallet teams that we've been in contact with, and I've had similar conversations like Q&A like this with them. So they should all be prepared. I hope so, and I'll keep in contact with them to make sure they're in the loop. Are there any major wallets missing from that list? Perhaps I missed.
To clarify on what you wrote there, everyone should update to 9.0. Otherwise, nothing is going to work. Even if they update to 9.0, fee calculation may break if they haven't recognized the reference script cost per byte.
Okay. Do you want me to elaborate on this one? Is it okay?
I would probably put that bullet tabbed back a bit and basically say, even if they update, it's possible fee calculation may break.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thanks.
Yep, that's good. Okay. See a release of DBsync with full support for Conway Era and Plutus V3. So we've been tracking fairly good with SanchoNet as we get these pre-releases out. Ryan can tell you how frequently you've been getting them. I know people have been really frustrated this one, even though I gave people a whole week headroom time because of vacations internally and whatnot. We just didn't have anyone available to be able to finish the PR and get the tag out. But that's back in progress and should be done soon. If you're talking about for 9.0, there might be a little bit of lag between the 9.0 node release and DBsync. I would hope not much, and I would hope we can prioritize basically just getting one of the Sancho tags basically to the point of stability, the most recent one, and be able to call that a stable release because we're ready to fork at that point. But just to be completely clear, these pre-releases, a lot of them have broken entire test suites that need updated basically to be able to get a stable release back out. Basically, in essence, to get the thing out quicker, we basically said, hey, we're just going to ignore a lot of this broken stuff and we'll deal with it later. So that tail is going to have to be resolved, and we're working on that actively right now. So I'm hoping we'll have that tail resolved by around mid-May or so when we have the Node 9 release out. And then at that point, it's just a matter of bumping the version, putting out a stable release and saying, yep, this is ready to go along with 9.0.
And I guess the question here is, will the update require a full resync? And I'm guessing the answer there is going to be a resounding yes.
I think it's going to be a resounding no, actually. That's the other thing with what they've been trying to do on the DBsync side, be able to have migration paths going from one to the next. So I think they're planning on trying to make this so it doesn't require a full resync.
That's great.
9.0 update on Mainnet. If you're talking, Tiago, if you're talking about when it's ready to run on Mainnet, yes. If you're talking about being in the Conway era, no. I think we're probably looking at mid-July for that. Like I said, these are all tentative dates. Don't go sharing them on Twitter or anything. This is just to help you kind of get prepped and everything for this. And then once we have more official dates, they'll be coming through Intersect properly.
So I'm resisting the temptation to write this down in the document and starting to promote it. So thanks for clarifying. It's just tentative, right? Cheers.
Yeah, don't put any dates out there public at all.
Yeah, it's important to clarify as well.
Once dates go out public, then people start looking at us and saying, "But you said we'll have it by then," and it's like, no, we said tentatively we'd have it by then if everything went according to plan.
Yeah, and 9.0 doesn't mean hard fork done.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. 9.0 does not mean hard fork tomorrow. Sorry.
Okay, so I think that was like 30 minutes. We got to know each other. I think it's great. Personally, I have not been in a room with a number of you, and I think that's what we're trying to create at CBIA, create a space to discuss this openly. Now, from here on, since I don't have more questions on screen, I'm just going to open the floor for anyone to raise their hand and step forward with any questions, concerns, things to share.
Since this is the infrastructure group, if you haven't seen it yet, my SRE team has been working super hard on a project called Cardano.Parts. It basically provides a one-stop shop for Nix builds that uses content address packaging, so they build really, really fast. And it provides ways to basically spin up entire stacks locally using Process Compose and then deploy multiple machines with different configurations. So it might be of interest to you guys. I know a lot of people in the community that do infrastructure don't do Nix, but if you do, I highly recommend checking it out. I updated my personal pool I do with Charles called Rats to use it, and it took me like less than a day basically to get my deployment working, with Mithril too, which was pretty cool.
You have some links for this?
Yeah,
that would be great. Anyone else?
Cardano.Parts, and then this is Playground, and Playground is basically the repo we have that deploys all our test nets that we keep public so people can see how it works using Cardano.Parts.
Sounds good. Okay, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, if we're promoting repositories, I think today we've done a quiet announcement that we've now made GovTool public. So I'll put that link in the chat if people are interested to see what the GovTool repo looks like. I will warn you, Our contributing guidelines are pretty weak at the moment. We're working on improving those. But feel free to submit feature requests or bugs or anything. Please have a look.
Yeah, this is huge, Ryan. I've been waiting months for this announcement.
Yeah, we finally did it. We're umming and ahhing, but this week let's just get it out, see what people think.
Cool. I can imagine a number of people in the room are going to be having a look at this.
Yeah, particularly if you're a DBsync user, Lucas, if you go to the scroll up, and you go to the backend folder, or it's under GovTool backend, it has all our SQL queries we're using for our backend. So like get drep list under GovTool backend, an SQL folder. It has all our SQL queries we're using over DBsync. So I think this probably could be of interest of anyone who makes a chain explorer or is using DBsync. This is how we're getting votes, getting dreps, that sort of information. So I think that should be pretty useful for people. Bear in mind, these queries aren't super well optimized at the moment because the DBsync scheme has been changing. We haven't spent too much, the team hasn't spent too much time optimizing these. These could be useful. So just a heads up on those.
Cool.
I just got it building, Ryan.
Great.
The build just finished.
Okay.
Yes,
Great
we can
stuff.
get back to the question. Sorry for the promotions.
No, I think these are tools that some people are going to want to reverse engineer or inspire from, and so it's great. Anyone else? Any questions on the Chang Hardfork, Conway, or Plutus V3? I think there was one question about Plutus V3, but we covered it there. If not, maybe we can just leave it at this, and I'll invite you to discuss asynchronously on the infrastructure work group channel that we have at Intersect.
So the one thing I will raise on the IOG's technical community Discord, under the Voltaire group, there's a builder-Sanchonet, and also probably of interest to you guys is general-Sanchonet. So as you're starting to build your wallets or your dApps and whatnot for Conway support, we would love to have you on Sanchonet. Feel free to advertise, hey, we're on Sanchonet now, in that channel, and you'll get lots of high fives and everything for it, I'm sure. But if you have questions or you run into breaking changes or anything that you're like, I don't know how to get around this, that's the place to ask.
Okay, here we have Ryan and yourself sharing things.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
I'm often hanging out here. So this is the main point of contact if you have issues or you want to join Sanchonet. Me and Sam are here all the time, as well as like all the other builders and wallets. I give updates here, like new node versions, stuff like this. New DBsync tags when they're out. I try to update these channels. So this is like the main contact point. And I'd say the main documentation site is the sancho.network site, which Lucas had the links to. So on there, I have a FAQ, which is like some general questions, which I felt come up a lot in these sorts of conversations. So there's FAQ there, and also a resources page. So the resources page has links to all the existing tools, which I know have upgraded to like Conway or like have a Conway beta or et cetera, et cetera. So stuff like CSL links on there. If you like CSL, the new DBsyncs on there. So this is probably, I do try really hard to maintain these pages. I do try to keep these up to date. But if you see something's missing, you can raise a PR and add it. So once you guys have upgraded your infrastructure, feel free to make a PR and we'll get it on this site.
Yeah, like I said, this is the document that we went over on this video that we shared here. Unfortunately, I didn't really record the video for this one. I'm sorry. But if you like play it and go over this document from top to bottom, it's like, just going over it from top to bottom. So I think that's it for today. Not sure if anyone else has any questions. Cool.
A picture is this the notes for that? Is that available somewhere?
Yeah, I dropped it on the chat, but I'm going to drop it
Oh,
again,
perfect.
and I'm also going to drop it on that general channel that Sam was just mentioning. I can do it right now, actually.
Great, thanks.
Yeah,
Awesome. Anything else?
that's it. I think that's it. If anyone wants the last call for questions.
I guess I'll ask one that is not necessarily infrastructure, but for Ryan possibly. So I know we had a couple workshops around CIP 100 and anchors and the data structures around those. Do you know what the status of that is? Like, are there any additional workshop we're going to have, or are we kind of like in a stabilization phase, getting to something we can release candidates?
Great question. And you know what? I should add the links to those SIPs on the SanchoNet website. Yeah, so just for everyone's context, we're talking about, there's been a few metadata SIPs which define the off-chain data which is attached to on-chain governance events. So we have SIP 100, which is like a base standard, which defines some like best practices, some common fields that we think all anchors should include. And the state of that is it's a pretty mature SIP. It's been merged into a repository, and we now have our first implementation in DBsync. So the DBsync team have implemented that, and we've also implemented it in GovTool. So if you're on the develop branch of GovTool, it will render. It'll be able to render SIP 100 compliant metadata and write to it as well. The other SIPs in this realm is SIP 108, which defines metadata. So the fields we want to be attached to governance actions. This I was in last check for the SIP editors call yesterday, and it is very mature. I think we've either merged it or it will be merged. Again, this has already been implemented by the DBsync team and also the GovTool team. So there won't be any changes to that. The final SIP we're talking about here is SIP 109, which is DREP metadata. So stuff like, hey, when a DREP registers, what sort of information would you like about that? So stuff like a username, a picture, work and fields like this. This SIP is a bit more work in progress. You can see if you go to SIP's repository, it's still a pull request, but it's getting there. I'd imagine we'll merge it into the SIP's repository, and it should be done and dusted within the next 2 weeks. And that's really the scope of all the governance metadata SIPs at the moment. Yeah, going back on, we've run as you said, Niels, sorry. We ran quite a few workshops on this. Myself, Pi did, and Thomas from IOG. But I don't believe there's any more planned workshops. If there is, we'll definitely shout about it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we could just, a contribution happens then on the proposals and the requests, whatever. That certainly works. Thanks.
Awesome.
Since you made this a little more public, I updated on the Chang Hardfork process some of the information in there.
Yep, I was noticing. Thanks. Also, I think I'm going to add the SIPs that Ryan was mentioning, or any more links from here to his docs instead of duplicating it here. So we can do that after the call. Right.
Awesome.
Thanks everyone for your time. Keep in touch on Discord, and I'll see you around soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Take care. And
Thanks.
always feel free to write me if you have questions.
Cheers.
Will do.